It's no secret that we all love Easter eggs. It feels like a special mission for only the most dedicated hardcore fans. There's a special thrill in finding out the secret before it's revealed to the rest of the world. But sometimes Easter eggs can be straight up confusing, made to leave fans scratching their heads for years or even decades. Keep on watching as we discuss some of the Easter eggs that made us all think the same thing. Wait, what? Hitman 3, the Hippo, and the UFO. The Hitman games have never been shy about adding insane and somewhat unhinged Easter eggs, including some contracts that allow players to take out a freaking ghost. But even that Easter egg made sense within the context, considering you were roaming around the abandoned section of a hotel. But there was no explanation whatsoever for a talking hippo and a UFO in Hitman 3. For the Berlin level, you have to find a work of graffiti on a wall that shows a UFO with the number 1993 right next to it. You take a picture of the graffiti and eliminate all the targets in the mission, then climb up the hill to a gas station. Once there, you can dial the number 1993 into a payphone nearby, and a UFO will descend from the sky to pick you up and end the mission there. The only relevance of this could be that the X-Files started in 1993, but it's extremely weird that Agent 47 got abducted by aliens, and it's literally never mentioned again. Believe it or not, there's an even weirder Easter egg in the same mission. As you grab the gold idol in the manager's office and put it on a chair in the marshlands, a hippo will appear out of the darkness and start talking to you. It will say ominous things like, "Don't dance the dance of death," and "You are on your own." One of the most creepy Easter eggs out there, for sure. Resident Evil 4, The Stranger in the Green Jacket. Resident Evil 4, despite being released in 2005, is still keeping fans on their toes, as YouTuber SR212787 found an Easter egg in 2017 that has left fans confused ever since. In Chapter 5-4, near the end of the game, after Mike has been killed, you can zoom in on a faraway structure with your sniper scope and see what looks a lot like a person. SR212787 went a step further and removed that level's fog and manipulated the game camera to move even closer, confirming that the shape is actually a low-poly 2D sprite of someone wearing a green jacket. Though some people speculate that the person might be a member of the game development team at Capcom, the face of the person doesn't really match any of the main personnel. Plus, the image is such low quality that it makes things even more difficult. No one involved with the game has ever spoken about the strange character's identity, who could just be a friend of the dev team or maybe even just a random person on a stock image website. We'll probably never know. Control, the Shrine of Cats. A secret achievement in Control's The Foundation DLC, One of Us, has players collect a total of 8 maneki-nekos, which are Japanese cat figurines spread throughout the world of the game. Finding and collecting each cat usually requires a puzzle, and when you finally collect all 8, a hidden passage is unlocked. The passage leads the player to a baffling cat shrine that has dozens of maneki-nekos, including a giant one at the back that stares eerily at the player. It doesn't end there, though. The players will also get rewarded with a pair of cat ears, which they can keep on for the rest of the game if they want to. Though the cat ears are purely for the aesthetic and don't offer any gameplay advantages whatsoever. Fans are still trying to figure out the reason for this particular Easter egg and what cats have to do with anything else in the game. Grand Theft Auto 4, the beating heart of the Statue of Happiness. Though the Grand Theft Auto franchise is filled to the brim with crazy Easter eggs, most of them are pretty self-explanatory and don't really leave much to the imagination. That's where the head scratcher comes in. The Statue of Happiness in GTA 4, which is a parody of the Statue of Liberty. Enterprising players can get into it by using a helicopter to reach the upper platform. After entering, there's a sign that says, "No hidden content this way." The sign leads to a ladder, which will then take them to the State of Happiness's enormous beating heart. This makes us think that the statue is clearly very much alive, which may make the whole thing seem silly. But when you take in the fact that the heart is chained to the interior of the statue, it makes the whole scene feel very creepy. While shooting the heart will make it spurt out some blood, it can't really be destroyed or stopped from beating with any of the in-game weapons. So this means that the heart is basically indestructible. It's obvious that this Easter egg was designed to be a total WTF moment for fans, and after almost 15 years of still being a huge mystery, we'd say they achieved their goal. The heart did make a reappearance in Grand Theft Auto 5's parody film Capolavaro, but it sadly hasn't been given any more content. System Shock 2, the Robot's Macarena dance. System Shock 2 isn't really known for its Easter eggs, but they've made the few they have really count, with one specific Easter egg causing the fans of the game to question the very nature of the game's world. While posted at the Orbital Space Station during the 3rd year of duty, go towards the blue window that's by the shuttles and look closely. You'll be able to see a protocol droid not only dancing, but doing the Macarena of all things. Along with being the scariest moment in the entire game, it also raises a question that is fascinating, but also a little frightening. Why is the Macarena still being remembered in 2114? The Macarena was a big craze that came and left pretty fast in the late 1990s, which was also when the game was released. Though it's still remembered today as a nostalgic trend of the past, how likely is it that something that blew up briefly would still be sitting around in our descendants' collective consciousness nearly 100 years from now? Yes, it does come off as a silly reference more than anything, but after almost 25 years since the release of the game, it's still an interesting cultural artifact, one that really makes you wonder whether the Macarena will exist centuries after we, our kids, and even our grandchildren have passed away. The evil within, the huge pig. The evil within games aren't at all lacking when it comes to weirdness, but there's really no wrapping your head around this unhinged and maybe even appetizing Easter egg. In the 4th chapter of the first game, The Patient, the players who burn every single corpse hanging in the hospice will be faced with a very strange sight, a giant pig. Now, we're not talking about a pig that's just big, but a rather cartoonishly massive bovine creature that's even taller than the player. If you choose to kill the creature, you'll receive a huge amount of green gel, but honestly, this strange-looking bovine fellow is so fascinating it would be basically sacrilege to do so. The sequel offered up a different version of this Easter egg, where you can encounter a giant crow by stealth killing up to 3 enemies in the game's 3rd chapter, Resonances. Even though the series is all about the unnatural and the grotesque, these giant animals are somehow even more unnerving. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, The Dying Guard. A lot of you might think that you've learned everything there is to know about The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, but you might have missed this specific Easter egg that is being discovered by players almost 25 years later. Before you've gotten the Master Sword and after getting the Ocarina of Time, a fatally wounded Hyrulean soldier will make an appearance in one of the back alleys in Hyrule Castle Town. If you speak to the soldier, he will briefly speak about Ganondorf's betrayal and Princess Zelda's escape before passing out, or what's more likely, dying. If you try to talk to him again, Navi ominously says that the soldier isn't moving anymore. This may seem like a fairly low-key Easter egg, though one fans are still shocked to find out about today. There are many people who think the guard's presence is much more significant than it seems. A fairly prominent fan theory says that the guard's monologue isn't consistent with what's going on around him. He talks about a raid being conducted by Ganondorf and his men, even though the other people in Hyrule seem perfectly chipper despite it. The theory says that the guard is actually a leftover from a scrapped section of the game which would have shown Ganondorf's raid explicitly, but those parts were scrapped to streamline Link's story. Whether you believe the theory or not, fans are still discussing the mysterious dead soldier to this day. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on these Easter eggs? Do you think they're just meant to be confusing, or are there actual storylines behind them? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.